Morsels of a Thought, number 1824. This is Yin Yang in California. With this many consecutive days, no holidays, no sick days, really. Hopefully, that we learn the right things to do. Wisdom is learning the right things to do. Knowing the right thing to do is wisdom. Doing it is called virtue. We're bringing more virtue into the world a little at a time. Morsels of a Thought by Morsels of a Thought. The rules for marriage today is by Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider. These are the women that changed dating. Well, we went back to what grandmas always thought worked and knew that worked. No shotgun experiences, no unsafe, yeah, whatever, because the rules have abilities and observations that you take down and you write it in your rules dating journal, and you can keep a diary after you're married too. The rules dating journal, record your progress from first date to wedding date. So here we go. From the rules for marriage. I don't want to read this one. I don't want to read this one. It says rules for sex. Okay, well, uh, I'll read it. Okay, so this is rules for sex by four women. This is, let's do that. When it comes to sex in a marriage, husbands rule the roost. Whether you like it or not, or think it's right or fair, your husband determines your sex life. Whether your husband wants it all the time or is not that interested in sex, you will be happiest if you adjust yourself accordingly. So don't turn your husband down repeatedly if he wants sex every night, even if you're a morning person, and don't force sex on a man who wants to watch Larry King or read a book after dinner. Go with the flow, whatever that is in your marriage. We have seen time and again that in this area, it is best for your husband to set the tone. For example, Keith enjoyed a wild sex life before settling down with his wife, Maria. He expected more of the same as a married man, which his wife found exhausting. She constantly came up with excuses. She was either tired or had PMS or the kids were draining. Keith got angry every time. You're always tired. Your period is either coming here or going. Coming or here or going. You have it 30 days a month, he screamed. We're just roommates if we don't have more sex. He also reminded Maria how exciting his sex life was before he married her. After seeing how unhappy Keith was and finding that her marriage had become passionless, Maria consulted us and decided to make her sex life a priority. He quote, he either he either wants to have sex with you or his 38D secretary. Be flattered he wants to have it with you. Make the effort. A man like Keith wants sex more than anything else. He works hard, pays bills, and helps with the kids. Sex is fun for him. It's his candy, his break. Don't take that away from him, we explained, end quote. We told her to act as if she was dating her husband all over again and experiment with what would make him happy sexually as long as she didn't find it offensive. To cut down on other activities so she wasn't so tired when he came home. To stop neglecting her sex life because of her kids. Get a babysitter. To stop rolling her eyes when he rented X-rated videos. And to even occasionally resort to pretending she enjoyed sex even when she would rather be watching TV. Maria followed our advice and Keith was thrilled. Maria had to admit that cuddling before and after sex made her feel close to her husband, so it was worth the extra effort. On the other hand, some women want more sex than their husbands and don't know what to do about this problem. For example, Janice contacted us about her frustration with her husband, Michael, a stockbroker who often came home late from work and showed little interest in sex. Once or twice a month on a Saturday night was enough for him. When he came home, he typically gave her a hug and a kiss and asked her about her day. Then he went straight to the den to read newspapers or check stocks on his computer. Taking a detour into the bedroom for a quickie somehow never crossed his serious cerebral mind. Hmm. Quote, Michael gets off on the Dow Jones, end quote, Janice complained to anyone who would listen. Rather than accept his low sex drive, Janice threw tantrums and put pressure on him to make love. Sometimes she was nice about it, greeting him at the door with sexy negligees. At other times, she screamed at him, demanding to know what was wrong with him, with her, with their sex life, and threatened to call a sex therapist for a session. Nothing seemed to work. He only wanted sex once or twice a month. Even when Michael gave in to her commands to have sex more often, Janice felt embarrassed and ashamed, like she was begging. In every other way, Janice was happy with Michael and would never think of divorcing him. He was extremely romantic and affectionate and a devoted husband and father. It was only his lack of interest in sex that bothered her. When we asked about their sex life while dating, Janice admitted that it was only once a week, but she didn't really think about it that much because she was caught up in the excitement of the courtship. He was very romantic and often bought her flowers on dates. She didn't notice the lack of sex, or she thought that he was being polite about not trying to end up in bed every time he saw her. She also assumed that their sex life would change when they got married and became angry and demanding when it didn't. We told her that unfortunately some men have low sex drives and some men put all their sexual energy into work or sports, and that she would have to accept that Michael was one of them. We said that it would be okay for her to gently initiate sex once in a while, but no screaming fits and threats. We also suggested she compliment his performance instead of harping on how infrequently they had sex. After 6 months of trying our plan, she said she felt better. Now we are reading The Rules for Marriage, Time-Tested Secrets for Making Your Marriage Work by Ellen Fein and Sherrie Schneider. I read books to bring you what I think is a form of wisdom from other people's life experiences, because knowing the right things to do for yourself is a form of wisdom, and then actually taking the magic action to do it is virtue. It's magic, it's virtue. We are bringing more virtue into the world magically with our actions on our morsels of a thought at a time. Okay, here. This was Rules for Sex, Chapter 29. Rule 29 for the rules for marriage. Even though the sex was not much more frequent than before, she stopped expecting it to change and was more accepting that you don't get everything in a husband. And once Michael realized that Janice was satisfied with his performance, he relaxed considerably. She found that Michael did not mind his wife's sexual advances, except when she did it in anger, and was actually flattered by the attention and happy to have sex with her at those times. Their sex life was never 3 times a week, but it was more enjoyable than before. A word about Playboy and Penthouse, X-rated videos and sex toys. Don't hassle your husband about subscribing to these magazines, renting adult movies, buying gadgets, or even occasionally going to bachelor parties held at topless clubs. You can jokingly say, quote, you can look, but don't touch, end quote. A man's fascination with nudity is not a reflection of his love for you. It's just entertainment for him, much like window shopping at Bergdorf's may be for you. You don't have to understand why they like it. Just don't show any disdain or prohibit them from indulging in this pleasure. Men don't necessarily understand women's obsession with handbags and shoes or watching fashion shows on the E channel. How would you like it if they said no more E channel? It's not about understanding why, but about live and let live and allowing your husband to have fun. If you think of it this way, you will realize there is no harm in letting him look at a bare chested woman in a magazine from time to time. We have Larry Namer on Sundays, his book. We have his book. Okay, The next rule is rule number 30, rules for pregnancy. Let me just make sure that it's short enough to read. Yes, it is. Good. A baby can be the most, rules for pregnancy, rule number 30. A baby can be the most amazing gift in the entire world, but no matter how wanted a pregnancy is, it always has an effect on your relationship. Going into pregnancy with your eyes open will help you manage these changes. The first decision you must face is whether you should get pregnant. If your relationship is rocky, do not get pregnant to bring your husband closer. You should be close before you have a baby. Babies are very demanding. Taking care of them puts more stress on a marriage, not less. Husbands and wives who are exhausted from diaper changes, feedings, and sleepless nights often say mean things to each other that they would never say otherwise. Quote, "When's the last time you changed his diaper? In the delivery room?" End quote. Unless your marriage is solid, do not bring a child into the picture. Before you get pregnant, make sure that the baby is a byproduct of your love, not a hidden agenda. And a word from me about an example I had in watching somebody have a baby that the husband didn't really want. In fact, she had the baby before they got married, and so they got married as a result of her pregnancy. So the baby was born, we would call it legitimately, or whatever people used to say. But the husband did not love her. And she said to me, "I had this baby, and I thought he would love me after I had this baby for him." And oh my God, I didn't want to say, "Oh my God, that was STUPID. My God, my God." I didn't want to say that. So I didn't say that. But poor baby grew up and she is now an adult. And she is, as a matter of fact, taking care of her grandparents. But the thing is that there wasn't a very happy marriage. And the baby grew up under a great deal of stress and reverted more than one time, at least two times, when she was able to stand and walk a little bit. I saw her at one point after that on her full all fours again, crawling instead of standing up. I saw this happen more than one time. Poor baby. So don't bring a baby into the world if you are not already tight and close and want a baby together. Back to the book. The authors say, similarly, don't get pregnant to get your boyfriend to marry you. Or to keep your husband from leaving you. This is a terrible reason to bring a child into the world. A child should not be used as a pawn to settle your marital squabbles or cement your relationship. Besides, bad motives always backfire. Married men walk out on pregnant women all the time. Some leave the delivery room to go to the bathroom and never come back. Having a baby is no guarantee of anything. Bringing a child into a marriage should be a mutual decision, so try to come to a consensus before proceeding. If you do decide to get pregnant, the timing can be crucial. Don't rush. Another word about that example, the parents wound up raising with the baby's mother. So the baby was raised by the grandparents, the parents of the man, and the baby's mother herself. And the thing is that the husband, I mean the father, he wanted nothing to do with her until she could interact with him and she could give him something, money. It was terrible. So you don't want to choose a man like that, honestly. Okay, back to the authors. If you do decide to get pregnant, the timing can be crucial. Don't rush. Pregnancy is a life-changing adjustment in any marriage. So unless you have a reason to have a baby immediately, like your age, we suggest being married a full year before you try to get pregnant. There are several reasons to wait. First and foremost, make sure you can be happy together for a whole year, not up and down and on the verge of divorce every other week. Waiting a year also gives the two of you precious time together that you won't have again for at least 18 years. A year of sipping cappuccinos in a romantic cafe without having to rush home to the babysitter, of traveling unencumbered by a diaper bag and stroller, of having an intelligent conversation and or sex without being interrupted by baby feedings, not to mention a year of uninterrupted sleep, and that's the least of it. Pregnancies can be extremely complicated and difficult. Some women throw up every day and are so sick that they are on bed rest or even hospitalized. Why spend your quote honeymoon and quote first year like that? Now that you are pregnant, how should you behave? Okay. We're reading from the Rules for Marriage, Time-Tested Secrets for Making Your Marriage Work. Learning the right things to do can be a form of wisdom, and doing them can be a form of virtue. It's magically a form of virtue. Okay, so if it's right for you, try to get wisdom from knowledgeable people who have been through the life experiences and come out with good results that they want to share with you. I'm simply reading to you what these wise people have to say in their synopses of their lives, and I hope I get to inspire you to do the right thing a day or two, and then entertain you the next day a little bit, impart something good, and we all get educated. Okay. You can spend your whole pregnancy, the authors say, you can spend your whole pregnancy complaining about every ache and pain, your swollen feet, your sore back, your stiff neck, and calling your husband at work every time you discover a new ailment so that he is forced to endure the worst of your pregnancy with you. Why should you suffer alone? You can talk incessantly about Lamaze and Layettes and quote, what to expect when you're expecting when he comes home. You can lie in bed for 9 months eating potato chips and ice cream and watching soap operas, wear oversized sweatshirts and your husband's pajamas and look like a truck. Or you can be pregnant with style. Instead of torturing your husband, you can complain to your mother or girlfriends who have been pregnant and know what you are going through and can truly empathize. If you are able, you should work for as long as possible so that your mind isn't on your stomach size 24/7. The 9 months won't feel like 9 years if you are busy being productive, not lying in bed with the remote control. If you are physically able, you should exercise and eat healthy foods so that you look like a woman during and after your pregnancy. Now, I know a woman who, actually, I know several women who have had their baby and come out very, very thin afterward. They really worked hard to get the weight off again. Um, and this was because they were on the verge of wondering what their husbands were going to do after they gained the weight. So that's what other people do. I have never had children, so I cannot be one of those women that is empathetic about it. I can believe you, but I can't understand truly you as a pregnant woman. If you are physically able, you should exercise and eat, say the authors. Eat healthy foods so that you look like a woman during and after your pregnancy. Think Cindy Crawford. You do not have to dress like a bum for 9 months. There are many stores that carry fashionable pregnancy clothes at reasonable prices, so you don't have to be ashamed to leave the house. Or try borrowing from a fashionable friend who has children. Don't force your husband to be involved in every aspect of your pregnancy unless he wants to be. There are some men who go to every doctor's visit, never miss a Lamaze class, practice breathing with their wives at home, think they are having hormone swings and feel nauseous too, gain 25 pounds along with their wives, and read pregnancy books with them at night. If your husband is not one of them, Don't try to guilt trip him into it. When you meet other excuse me. I'm sorry. I knew I should have kept the water here. When you meet other women who tell you how involved their husbands are, don't complain to your husband. Don't say, Andrea's husband goes with her to every doctor's visit. Why can't you? A better idea is to try to include him in the fun parts of pregnancy, letting him know when the baby is kicking, framing a photo of the sonogram for his desk, and going over baby names. But don't push too hard. He'll be a daddy soon enough. Interesting. So that's the rules for pregnancy. Don't complain about the kids. I'll read you two paragraphs from that one. Okay. We will read it here. Oh, this page. Okay. Don't complain about the kids. Rule 31, first paragraph of It's been one of those days. Your 3-year-old is covered in mud and refuses to take a bath. Your 5-year-old won't eat anything that's first ingredient isn't sugar, and it always ends up on his shirt. Both don't let you talk on the phone for more than 5 minutes without interrupting. You want to pull your hair out. You can't wait until your husband comes home so you can get into exquisite detail over everything his kids did wrong today. We know how you feel. We've all had those days. May we suggest you call a friend with children instead and tell her how hard your day was? She will be better able to relate to your tale of woe and maybe even help you laugh about it. Of course, nothing is wrong with telling your husband that the kids were acting up, but if you daily dish up every mishap, every Dennis the Menace caper, at some point, trust us, he will stop commiserating with you and start to think you are simply incompetent. Men don't get this. They don't think there should be rules for dating or marriage, much less making friends and play dates. But there are. If you try to explain the politics of making friends and play dates in a new neighborhood to your husband, you will probably be misunderstood. Call a girlfriend. Men don't understand that making friends with mothers in a new neighborhood is not that different from making friends in high school. There are established cliques and inner circles you just can't break into. These women either like you or they don't. If you ask a mother to have lunch or make a play date and she says, I'll think about it, and never calls you, you can feel hurt. That it's always best for a mother and child to want to be friends with you and your child, that the rules still apply. On the other hand, the new mom who wants to be your friend, who asks you to lunch, will probably be your friend for life or until your toddler goes to college. She'll be the one who asks if you need anything at the grocery store since she is going, or if you want her to watch your kid for an hour so you can do errands. So this is the rules for marriage. I didn't read you the entire part of Don't Complain About the Kids. Oh, I guess we could. A husband will respect a wife who seems to have everything under control, including homework, medical, and school forms. Look at it this way. If your husband came home every day with another disaster story about work, looking disheveled, with papers falling out of his briefcase, you might think he was incompetent. The same applies in reverse. Most husbands want to come home from a stressful workday to peace and quiet, a clean, organized house with kids who are well behaved. Let them. Now, this isn't easy to do. The rules apply through marriage, through everything. This is actually a form of wisdom that you can use to commit acts of virtue, doing things for others that are good for you and good for them too. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Old Kinderhack.